Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of the Pet Behaviour Chat. Can you believe we're almost 10 episodes in? I can't believe how quickly the time is flying by. And speaking of time flying by, it's almost that time of year again. And so our episode 9 is all about getting your pets ready for the holiday season, but from a mental and emotional behavioral perspective. So what I'm not going to be talking about in this episode are all the chocolate that your dogs aren't allowed to eat and your cats, and being careful of tinsel decorations for your cats because we don't want to have to do any foreign body surgeries, although all of those things are, of course, important. But I want to change tack a little bit, and I want to actually talk about your pet's mental and emotional health needs during a busy time, which, is for most of us a wonderful time of the year. Means families getting together, means usually lots of noise and Christmas crackers and all that kind of thing, means lots of rich food, changes in routine, and so on. And those things can be difficult for our pets to navigate. Some of them might absolutely love it. I always talk about your average Labrador, and I mean that with absolutely no disrespect to Labradors, but I think you probably all know what I mean when I say that. Many pets will enjoy having people around and, will enjoy all the hustle and bustle of that, but many pets also won't. Many pets might struggle with lots of different things in that time and during that time of year. So that's what I thought we would talk about today. And I'm going to give you my 7 top tips for making the holiday season a mentally and emotionally safe time for your pets. And I think that's something that, we all could consider. It's no different in our home as well. All right. So here we go. 7 top tips. I'm going to start with number 1, which I just kind of briefly alluded to, and that is routine. Now, many pets really love and appreciate their routines. They kind of know what's happening next, and that sense of predictability causes them to feel safe and secure. And uncertainty can lead to anxiety, and we know that from ourselves. And I know many of us struggle with anxiety around the holiday season, and some of that has to do with not knowing quite what to expect, and changes in our own routines, whether that's eating routines or exercise routines or sleep routines. We might not be sleeping in our own beds. So routine is really important. So trying to maintain our pet's routine as much as we possibly can during the holiday season is going to be really, really helpful for them. So if they have set times that they usually go out for a walk, or set times that they have their meals, or napping times in particular are going to be important times. My cats, for example, have such a strong morning routine, which is self-imposed by them. They wake us up, as cats do, first thing in the morning, and then the squidge is let out. The schniz, she stays in and has some food. And then, they kind of join in our morning routine. Then the dog gets walked, and then, the cats wait for the dog to come home again. And then they probably have a second breakfast, as most cats do. And then probably from about 9:30 onwards, they go ahead and they snooze. So they have their favorite resting places, and they'll probably snooze for most of the morning. I would say until lunchtime, or maybe even longer than that. And that routine is very sort of set in stone, if you like. And similarly, my dog Lexi, or our dog Lexi, has a similarly kind of rigorous morning routine, in that she, the first thing she wants to do is go out for a walk, and do all the sniffing and, relieve herself. And then she comes home, then she knows she has her breakfast, then she goes outside. So routines are very strong within our pets, and obviously changes to routines, whether that be people coming to the home, or maybe you leaving and taking them with you, which obviously is great, but it does mean a change to that routine. All of those things can cause stress, can cause anxiety to some degree. So just being mindful of that, being considerate of that, and trying to accommodate our pets' routine needs as much as possible is a really good place to start. So that was number 1, routine. Number 2, we want to make sure that they have access to safe spaces. Again, we might be having, activity in the home. There might be people in the home that they either have never met before, or maybe they don't particularly like having people in the home. There might be children around, and the animals might not be used to having children around. So having a safe place that they can retreat to. Now, for cats, that might look like being on top of a cat scratch tree, or it might be in a wardrobe somewhere, or maybe underneath a bed, but somewhere that they can get to where they have peace and quiet, and where they can be safe in the assumption that nobody's going to disturb them. For dogs, that could mean if they have a crate, for example, that's their safe place, or if they have a specific bed that is their safe place, and that might be away a little bit from sort of the hustle and bustle of the main activity areas like the kitchen and the dining room and the living room. And then another really important thing about those safe places is to communicate to any visitors that you might have coming to your home that those safe places are safe places, and that when the pet is in those safe places, nobody is to go and disturb them there, because we also know that this is a high risk time for aggressive behaviors and maybe for a bite. So if you have a dog that's maybe snoozing away in their bed, and then you have maybe a young child who's excited to come over and touch them and pet them there, that is the prime time for that dog to maybe react defensively. And similarly with cats as well. So that's an important rule, I think, to establish and to communicate to all friends, family, visitors, is that when the pets are in their safe place, it's a no-go zone for any human, whether that be an adult or a child. It's just that they've chosen to take themselves into their safe place in the knowledge that they can rest safely and securely there. So that's tip number 2, safe places. Number 3 is a little bit around what we call stranger danger. So having unfamiliar people coming to the home. Many, many animals see their homes as their safe places, their sanctuaries, and having unfamiliar people, or even familiar people that they maybe haven't seen for a while, coming into those homes, those safe places, can cause huge anxiety, it can be triggers, can cause dogs to bark, may cause cats to avoid, run away, seek solace. But we want to make sure that we understand and respect their needs in these moments. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to cause any kind of enforced interactions. So if our pets are communicating to us, look, we'd really rather be away, or we're not feeling comfortable with this situation, then the last thing that we want to do is to expose them to that situation that they feel uncomfortable in. It's happened so many times that I've seen people actively go looking for the cat that's chosen to hide away. They scoop up the cat, they carry the cat downstairs to, proudly show their family and friends their gorgeous cat. And the cat's just thinking, oh my God, get me the hell away from here. And they just want to avoid an escape again. So being really mindful of that. Now, if you have a dog that really is unhappy about people coming to the home, then maybe one thought that you may want to have is to not have the huge family gathering in your home. Maybe you have it at somebody else's house, or maybe you choose to go out for a meal instead. But again, it's that respecting that this is also your pet's home. And in many instances, it's one of the few places that they feel truly safe. So how can we plan a little bit in advance around that? Or if we do have, families coming to our home, do we need to think about maybe putting up some baby gates in that time, or, really having those sort of spaces away, as I just mentioned, those safe places, maybe with a safety barrier in between, whether that's a baby gate or a closed door or something like that, to just make sure that, we don't have any accidents around Christmas, which would be very upsetting for everybody, obviously. So that's my tip number 3, is think about how your animals feel about strangers, or even non-strangers, but visitors coming to the home. Top tip number 4 is all about food. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about food, but this is a little bit kind of a mental and emotional health perspective on food. So obviously, there's going to be more food than normal around, and it's going to be different kinds of food. Some of those foods might smell hugely enticing to both dogs and cats. And it might be that, the temptation is just too much for some of them. So we do want to protect them from a physical health point of view. Chocolate, bones, a lot of meat, gastroenteritis, all that kind of thing. But one top tip I have for you is for your pet to enjoy your festive meal with you is to actually prepare either a Kong or a licky mat or something like that with a mini version of that kind of festive dinner. So if you are having maybe a turkey or another type of meat, probably a lean meat would be better, then use a little bit of very plainly cooked meat and pop some of that into a Kong, maybe with some vegetables that you're making. If you're having maybe some sweet potatoes or some other potatoes, maybe not necessarily roast potatoes, but making kind of a healthy festive meal for your dog in particular to enjoy at the same time that the rest of the family members are enjoying their festive meal. And a really great place to feed them this is maybe in their safe place or on a bed that's away from the table. So that then also stops, maybe begging for food or being around people's feet and then people inadvertently getting up and, kicking the dog or something like that. So to just have integrate the pets into your festive meals, but in a way that's appropriate and safe for them, both from a nutritional point of view, so not feeding them anything fatty, heavy, or dangerous, but also, whilst everybody else is sitting down to enjoy their meal, having your pet be busy with their Kong in a safe place away from people at the same time. So yeah, have a think about that. That might take a little bit of pre-planning. You could even pre-prepare a Kong a few days before with, a different type of meat, for example. You could also get maybe a little bit of meat and gravy mixed together and spread it out on a licky mat. So there are so many different things you can do. And I think thinking about it in that way will hopefully help everybody to enjoy their festive meal. Okay. Point number 5 is thinking about how you're going to introduce your pets to the decorations that you might be putting up at this time of year. So we know for both dogs and in particular cats that changes to the environment can be causes of anxiety, fear, triggers. We might be moving furniture to make space for the tree. We might be bringing out ornaments that are unfamiliar. We could be having flashing lights that might not be welcomed by, maybe a sensitive or an anxious doggy. So just thinking about how we introduce decorations into our pet's environment. So doing it slowly, step by step, maybe one piece at a time in the weeks leading up to the holiday season. Or if, you are maybe putting up the tree, have your pet separated somewhere with a Kong or a licky mat so that they don't get involved in the action. Being very, very careful with things like tinsel, especially around cats, because the last thing we want is a foreign body surgery at Christmas, as we all can appreciate. So just being mindful that the decorations that we feel are really wonderful and amazing at this time of year may be sources of stress to some of our pets, in particular cats. Some animals might be neophobic. They might be fearful of new items coming into their environment. For cats, using something like Feliway, a pheromone product, could be a really great thing in these situations, just to help with the kind of the scent changes, the pheromone scent changes at that time of year. So there are definitely things that can be done, but we just need to be mindful around them. All right, my top tip number 6 is all around noises. Now, noises we know can be quite triggering for some animals, especially those animals that have known noise sensitivities. And we classically always think about things like fireworks and thunderstorms and, loud noises from traffic and so on. But think about Christmas crackers, right? The multiple number of kind of short bangs that go off in that moment, that can be hugely scary to a dog or a cat. So think about things like that. Obviously, loud voices, loud noises, children screaming, screeching, running, especially as they're unwrapping presents. So is there a way that we can have noise sensitive pets be safe in those situations? Now, I know we all want our pets to join in at Christmas time. We want them to be part of our family. We want them to be there when the kids are opening the presents. but we just need to think, is it the right thing for that particular individual? Again, many pets are going to enjoy that and, be more than happy and be very able to cope with that situation. But we're thinking about those pets that cannot. And for sure, there are going to be some of those around. So just be mindful of this. If you know that your pet is sensitive to noises, for the rest of the year, if they struggle with maybe household noises, or if they are pets that are prone to being fearful of fireworks, then think about the effect that Christmas cracker might have on them. And just, think about how we can manage those situations better. Do they need to be separated away for a brief moment in time, and then they can be brought back out again when that kind of noise has passed or is over? So yes, think about noise sensitivity for your pets. And if this is something that you'd like to discuss further, then we can absolutely offer you consultations to help with this. We can make a bespoke plan for your particular pet around this time of year. I can definitely give you recommendations on how you could use calming supplements or pheromone products, or maybe even short-acting medications in this time. So feel free to reach out to us. You have all the links in the show notes on how you can find us. I'd be super happy to help to make that period truly an enjoyable one for everybody. Okay, and finally, I'm going to come to my point number 7, which is don't forget to spend quality time with your pet. With everything going on, we know what a busy time of year this is. Maybe already in the run-up, we've got parties and drinks and, going out to see the lights and, families coming over. Things can get quite busy for a number of weeks in the run-up to the festive period. So just consider spending some quality time with your pets in this time as well. If they're open to it, have them be part of the celebration. See how you can include them in a safe and mentally and emotionally positive way. All the points that I just mentioned and went through. But yes, give them that extra cuddle in the morning, maybe when it's just you and them before the madness starts. First thing when you wake up and you go for that quiet morning walk together. Just make sure to spend some quality time, to have some one-on-one time, and to let them know how loved they are in this period. All right. So those are my 7 top tips. I'm just going to go through them again one by one. So we've got routines, safe spaces, stranger danger. How can we make their festive meal as good as it can be? Being careful about decorations in the home, being mindful of those noises that come with having many people in the house, but also things like Christmas crackers and the like. And then finally, spend quality time with your pet. So I will leave you with those 7 top tips. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful festive period. And we are going to be back on Boxing Day with the wonderful Andrew Hale, who's going to chat all about the emotional experience. So if you don't know Andrew Hale, he is an incredible both human psychologist who has moved into working with dogs mainly. He's got an incredible Facebook group called the Canine-Centered Approach, or Canine-Centered Care, I think it is. And he's all about the emotional experience, both in humans and in animals. And I can't wait to chat with him. And it's such a lovely time of year to be considering this and to be thinking about our emotions and our pets' emotions. We know that it's not always an easy time of year. But I'm going to leave you with lots of love and a wonderful, wonderful festive season ahead. And we'll see you back on Boxing Day. All right. Bye for now.